Good morning, everybody. This is Lisa Lachendro. I am one of the annuity sales directors here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I see some pretty cool people on my attendee list here that I know. Hey, Mark. Hey, Tara. Leslie, Ken. Hey, how's it going, Joe? So thank you guys for joining us today. I do see quite a few folks, and you're still joining in that I don't recognize. And so I'm going to go over a few slides. If you're not familiar with working with us here at IAMS and part of the IAMS family, then take some notes on some of these things that I'm going to go over with you here before we get started with Austin Eller with North American. Um, North American is launching their new Control X product today, May 2nd, right? It is May 2nd. Yeah, May 2nd. So I'll get started with kind of an intro to IAMS. And anytime you have questions, feel free to throw them in the question box as time allows. We'll definitely try to get those answered for you. Know that this is recorded, so you'll all get a recorded copy as well as some lovely handouts. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get going. So when you get contracted with IAMS, the first 6 months of you being contracted with us, we are going to give you a bonus for any production that you write with us. Now that could be life, it could be annuities. But anyway, we want to show you that we value you giving us a shot, that we value the business that you're partnering with IAMS to produce. And we are a marketing organization. So we win when you are growing your business. So we want to give you a little something back. We're going to help you with marketing. Well, depending on what tier of level that you achieve, 100,000 might give you $750 cash, to give you an example. But take advantage of this. Absolutely take advantage of this because you get a lot more bang for your buck. And I'm going to talk about marketing dollars here in a second. Now, I don't think there is a better compliment in our business than to receive a referral. You love referrals, well, so do I. But we are going to thank you with a quarterly check for um, a little override that comes straight out of Steve Murray's pocket to you. So this is not going to cut anything off of whatever the agent writes. It's not going to, I mean, it's literally a check from IAMS coming out of our pocket to you because without your introduction to that agent and to IAMS, we wouldn't see that business come in the door. So if you have somebody that you think that would also benefit in working with us here at IAMS, jot their name down. Let me know. I'm happy to reach out to them or your marketing director or have them call in and reach out to us. Either way works. Another thing that I think a lot of folks here that are already working on IAMS, if I were to unmute, I bet I would have a lot of people that would vouch for this, but our back office support is superb. We literally do everything for you as far as case illustrations, casework, helping you fill out the applications, helping you with Firelight on EAPS, helping you with contracting. You have your own contracting team. You have your own new business team. They're following up with the carriers, make sure everything is going smooth every couple of days so that you don't have to sit on the phone for an hour to get an update. We send you updates. We have sales expertise, we have coaching, we have academies. So really the goal of our back office support for you is so that you are doing what you do best and getting in front of people. Let us do all the busy work for you. That's what we're here for. So we want you out in front of folks. That's what you do best. Let us take all the other stuff off your plate. So one of the things that you have access to is our website. And if you don't already have this saved on your browser, you need to do it now. It's www.imsinc.com. So, oh, hold on. Let me see if Austin, If we lost Austin here. Austin, are you with us? Sorry about that. Hopefully he can get back on. But our IAMS website, sorry to get distracted there. Our IAMS website, it's got a sales resource library. I mean, we just held our our academy last week, and I'll talk to you a little bit about our academies as well. But one of the biggest things that folks in our feedback was how many resources that we really have on our IAMS website that you have access to at your very fingertips. It could be webinars, recorded webinars with concepts or product knowledge. It could be, let's see, I think Austin's having problems getting in here. Sorry about that, folks. It could be
Hey,
the fact
Lisa,
finder.
can you hear me?
Oh, yep, there you are.
All right, sorry, I got booted and I'm back in, so I don't know if I missed anything, and I wanted to chime in to at least just make sure that you could hear me. So my apologies. I think I got everything fixed.
Don't ever leave me again, Austin.
I'm sorry
Your
about that.
friendship
I
will
started
be
panicking.
over, I tell
I
you.
started panicking in here. I started hearing noises on my phone, and I was like, that sounds like I'm being disconnected. So I'm back on. Apologies.
No, you're all good. Just talking about our website and all of the wonderful tools on it. Austin's probably going to go over North American's website just a smidge too. I mean, that's a pretty sweet. They've got a lot of really nice client friendly, some of the best in the industry, in my opinion. But we'll get to that later. I want to keep moving on because you guys want to know about this Control X product. Firelight, Firelight. If you are not using an e-app process right now, then you need to. Um, I have walked through a 92-year-old on Firelight. So if I can walk a 92-year-old through an e-app, then I'm pretty confident I can walk anybody else through an e-app. But utilizing e-apps, you're going to see that your apps are going to be in better order. You're going to make sure that you have the most accurate forms. I mean, how annoying is it to have to go get another signature because you missed a page or you missed a form or you had the wrong form? Nobody wants to look like a fool in front of their client. So Firelight helps avoid that. From a carrier standpoint, Austin, I know that you've got some advice, looking at utilizing Firelight as an e-app source.
Yeah, absolutely. We love when people send e-apps. I mean, actually, I think it's somewhere around 65 to 70% of the applications that we get nowadays. And it actually, last I heard, I think it's actually north of 70. So don't quote me on any percentages, but it's definitely significantly higher than 50%. The majority of applications we are receiving are via Firelight. The industry as a whole has moved towards electric applications, and it'll only get better as time goes on. Reason being is it just makes things so much smoother, right? The minute that you submit an e-application, it is automatically inputted into our system right then and there. Whereas if you do a paper application and you upload it via the document upload tool, you fax it in, scan it in, whatever it may be, right? There's a process that makes everything just a tad bit longer. So one, it makes it quicker right from the get-go, but two, the e-application, our NIGO percentage on e-applications is cut in. It's cut by about a third. I mean, anytime that you submit an e-application, at least that every piece of information is filled out. It doesn't mean that every piece of information is going to be filled out correctly, but that means that every piece of information that you have is filled out, and it just increases the likelihood that every piece of information is filled out correctly. So it's just something that we always, recommend, and it just makes life easier on both us as well as you guys. Another thing too with our e-application, you can do a suitability pre-check. So you can go onto the e-application, submit a suitability pre-check. You do not need to submit any client signatures with that. And within 24 hours, usually we'll come back and tell you, hey, that is a contract that we will accept. So if you have any of those in-between cases, use the e-application. And if we do approve that suitability pre-check, what happens is all of that information gets lumped into the e-application for you, and now all of a sudden 70% of the Firelight application is done already. So just a couple, key points there for our Firelight e-application.
Yep, and that pre-check suitability thing is smooth, guys, super smooth. The nice piece is that first off, you're going to have a little bit more confidence that your client is going to be approved for those, but it goes so much faster through the application process at North American because it's already been through suitability. So there's just a few other check marks they have to, confirm on that application, and it gets processed a lot faster. So if you want me to give you a tour of our website, if you would like a tour of Firelight, help you get set up, I've got step-by-step instructions. I'm happy to, walk you through it. So just let us know what we can do because we want your life to be easier here at IAMS. Thanks for your feedback on that, Austin. All
Absolutely.
right, so I know a few folks on here already that have utilized our creative team, our creative marketing team. These guys are so talented. I mean, they can do anything from creating a website for you, getting your social media up to speed, get more traction on your social media. Or maybe you just need a logo on your business cards or a brochure or handouts, or I've even had them do a yard sign for one of my agents doing a seminar or workshop. So if you ever have any questions or want to know if we can assist you on any of those marketing tools, just let us know. All of these things are also things that you can utilize your marketing dollars for, your new producer bonus for. So keep that in mind. Let me know if you have any questions there. Next, I'm going to talk about our IAMS Wealth Management. I'm going to launch a poll actually while I talk about these guys. These are some of my best buds here. Duncan Smith over there, Zach Reed. If you have your 65 or looking to get registered, let us know. I'll hook you up with one of my boys over there. But IAMS Wealth Management really came about several years ago when we were thinking, what are we missing? Like, what else could we do to be that one-stop shop for all their needs? Well, let's get on the security side. So we have IAMS Wealth Management as our sister company here at IAMS. You get the same support. You get the same Cadillac service, I like to call it. As far as doing, helping you with your applications, I think they even include all the compliance and the websites for you. So absolutely something, and I believe that the cost is very, very competitive to what you're receiving than what is out there in the market. So I've always had a lot of folks, be very, very happy when I introduce them to Duncan over there. Any of those guys are happy to help you any way they can. Now, here's the cool part, and this is the part that really means a lot to me because when I was an agent and before I got my securities license, I had to bring a licensed rep with me to my client meetings that needed something on the security side. Well, guess what else that meant? That also meant that I had to cut them in on 50% of the apps too. That takes away from my bread and butter. I didn't need them to help me with an annuity app. I didn't need them to help me with a life app, but they were there. So they wanted cutting in on all of it. Well, here's what Zach will do in IAMS Wealth Management. If you are not securities licensed and you still want to keep those clients in your backyard, you control them. You can introduce them to Zach. Zach will help them on just the security stuff. Okay, keep them in your backyard. You won't take any of the revenue from the life or annuity business, the fixed business, and you can still maintain your client, and you and Zach will stay on the same page, and you'll be partners and all that. Well, let's say you start doing quite a bit over there with Zach, and you say, you know what? I think I do want to get my securities license. Well, you get your securities license, and guess what Zach is going to do? He's going to transfer every single one of those clients right back to you. No other partnership is going to do that. Nobody would do. I've never heard of that happen in our industry. Oh, you got your license now? Let me go ahead and transfer this client back over to you. So it's a win-win. You control your clients by sending them over to Zach and introducing them to Zach for the security business that might be a good fit for them. Or if you are already securities licensed and you want to talk to Duncan about all the benefits that you get with IAMS Wealth Management, be sure you click yes here. And Duncan will get in touch with you and answer any questions that you have. So I'll go ahead and close the poll. Appreciate everybody responding there. Moving on. Our Life and Annuity Academy. We just wrapped our last one up last week. This is also a big perk that IAMS offers. Not, I don't think any of our competitors offer an annuity academy, life and annuity academy, but we take care of all the expenses. We're going to pay for your flight. We're going to pay for your room and board. Usually it's at like a Marriott or something like that. And then we have, particular carriers and such. I think North American is going to be doing with us here later on in the summer, right, Austin? Is it going to be later this summer?
Yep. Right now we're targeting August. There's 2 weeks in August that we're pinning down, and we actually should have those pinned down this week. So
Yep.
late summer.
Yep. So we have sometimes they're in Des Moines, with at the Carriers building. I know North Americans out there. We've done it at their office last year. We just wrapped up this last week. Basically, you're going to hear from some of the best in the industry. You are going to walk away with ideas and concepts to grow your business. And that's really our goal for investing our money into you to attend these academies. So if you're interested, we do have it up on our website to go ahead and sign up for our next academy, which will be in June here in Omaha. So if you're right in business with us, contracted with us, we can certainly look at, talking to you about getting a seat. Oops. All right, we have trips, guys. We have some pretty cool trips. So our next trip, the qualification ends at the end of this year, December 31st, 2023. We usually do an 18-month qualification so that you have plenty of time to hit this goal of 4.5 million points. That is life, that is annuities, SPL. So I think MIGA counts as a half a point, because there's not a whole lot of money involved with MIGAs, as we all know, but still, we're going to give you a little bit of credit there. So this is going to be our next trip is going to be at Kiowa Island. I know I'm butchering that. In South Carolina, from what I understand, this place is hands down, top notch. So if you want to know where you stand on points, know more about qualifications, just let us know. We'll be happy to explain that to you. All right, we are a marketing organization. Obviously, we're going to have Facebook and LinkedIn. So I encourage you all to go on there, like our page. We keep you informed on what's going on in our industry, all that good stuff. And while you do that, I am going to change the presenter to Mr. Austin Eller.
Awesome. Let me show my screen here, and you should be able to see it. Can you see it?
Yep, I see it. So
awesome.
Hand you the mic, buddy. Go get him.
Hey, I appreciate it. I truly hope I don't get cut off again. I half wondered if that was you just kicking me out earlier and you got sick of me or something. But if I do, for whatever reason, get kicked out again, I do apologize. If you hear me stop talking, just know I will immediately redial in. But I think everything's set here. But first off, obviously, thank you guys all for hopping on today. Really, really excited about this new product. Before I dive into that, I can't thank Lisa enough. The partnership that I have with her and everyone else at IAMS is fantastic. She touched on a couple things that they have. Really, they are tremendous at a bunch of different things. Everything that she covered today, they're fantastic at. So those of you who do work with IAMS, you guys have a tremendous IMO. And those of you right now who may be looking for others, just know that I love working with IAMS. They're fantastic from a carrier standpoint. Everything that I've heard from an agent standpoint too, they're fantastic. But before I go into the product today, I'm just really going to cover two quick things on North American and who we are, because for those of you who haven't sold North American, if you're interested in this new product, you obviously want to know a little bit about our company, right? And I'll be quick when I go over this stuff, but I truly think you can break it down into what I call the 3 Ps, people, place, and product, right? For people, we have a team of regional sales directors. So I myself, I'm a sales vice president, and my job is to go out there and meet in person with IMOs and marketers, principals, etc. I spend about 60% of my time on the road, and when I am on the road, about 95% of that time is with those marketers and IMOs. Now, what we do have is, you'll see there at the top, an RSD team, or what I mean by that is a regional sales director team. We have 8 individuals that go out and meet in person with agents. So basically, there's multiple levels of support that we have here at North American, covering both IAMS and agents under IAMS, and or across the whole United States, right? Their purpose is to go meet with you guys as the agents, help grow your business, help educate you on North American products, services, etc. We are ESOP owned, right? So that makes it very service focused. ESOP owned company, meaning that every single individual that you talk to in this company, every single department that you call into and talk to, we have an ownership stake within the company. It means we want it to do well both today, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. Helps us be very service focused. We actually just a couple weeks ago had our ESOP annual meeting, where basically we go over our numbers, what percentage is, of our salary from last year will be put into an ESOP, the percentage increase in the stock, etc. It's always a great time seeing that. Everyone loves that meeting. It just truly gives us excitement around the company. For Place, you can see there we were founded over 130 plus years ago. We're a privately held company. We have over 1.7 million policyholders and $115 billion in assets. And then for products, we have products built for growth, income, and legacy. Today, we'll be talking about a growth and income product for the most part. We're A+ rated across the board, something that we don't take lightly, right? And I don't think it's talked about quite as much as it should be sometimes. I even myself forget about it. But if you're going into a long-term product, a 10+ year product, you want to make sure that the company you're putting your money with is strong financially. And you'll see there at the top right for AM Best, we just got awarded not too long ago, standing the test of time by AM Best, meaning we've been A-rated for over 50 years by AM Best. Just goes to show you how long we've been a strong financial company. Another thing that I like to point out there at the bottom right, next to the North American, where you see North American, there's our logo of an oak tree leaf. I love pointing that out, right? Because when you think of an oak tree, you think of a big, strong tree, been around for 100 years, right? Or it can be around for 100 years, and it can live for another 100+ years. That's exactly what we want you guys to think of North American as. A company that's been around for 100 years, will be around for another 100+ years, and is very strong financially. Now let's get into this new Control X contractor product that we've just launched here today. This is new to the industry, and it's something that we've actually been working on for some time, because we had to make a couple different internal processing changes to our systems, because it's got a very, very unique feature when it comes to the income portion of this piece, right? So basically what this product does is it allows your clients to control their growth and their income timeline. Just think of that. When you're talking with clients, what's one of the reasons they may say no or turn you down? And it may be because of a lack of control with their money, right? Traditionally speaking, if you put $100,000 into an income rider product, when you go to turn on income, whether that's 1 year from now or 5 years from now, really when you trigger the income rider, your only option is to trigger the full income rider. You're essentially losing control. What if your income timeline is 6 years from now? You don't necessarily know exactly how much you'll need 6 years from now. We can tell you, okay, on $100,000, this is what it will give you, but what if you don't need that full income amount, or what if you might need more, right? Vice versa. Basically what this product does is this gives you full control over multiple different aspects of the contract, whether it be accumulation or income. right? So let's take a deep dive into it. And once we get to the income portion, like I said, it's going to be something that you've never seen and has never been seen in this industry as a whole. First, let's go over the specs. To keep it simple, right, it's a 10-year surrender charge schedule. Issue ages is 0 through 79 if you leave off the total control rider or the income rider, I will say. If you do add that income rider, like I said, the income rider is optional. The issue ages are 40 through age 79. Single premium, a minimum of $20,000, and you can do a single or joint coverage person, right? So pretty straightforward there in terms of these specs. But when it comes to the design of a product, right, I always break it down into 3 different things. When I talk about an income rider product, I talk about the design of the product, the growth of the product, and then the additional protection that the additional protection that the contract provides. So I'll go over each and every one of those aspects here, right? Design, growth, and additional protection. So for design, if we are looking at the accumulation only version, right? Basically what you have is you have an accumulation vehicle with many different indexing options, competitive indexing strategies, and 10% free withdrawals starting in year 2. Really, that's all there is to it. When we look at the accumulation side of things, I'll show you the rates and the illustrated rates here in a couple slides. But the bulk of this conversation here today will be focused on the optional total control rider, right? As I mentioned, that optional total control rider is an income rider that can provide guaranteed lifetime income. But what's really unique about it is you'll see here, let me see if I can get a pen out. I know I can. I just got to deal with all the stuff here. Okay. Right here in this bullet point where I'm putting an X or a little star by it, this is where this income rider gets very unique, and it's something that we've never seen before in this industry. You have the opportunity to elect flexible lifetime payment amounts. You can actually activate up to 10 different income streams on this contract, whether it be increasing, level, joint, single, spousal, etc. One thing to keep in mind, if you do add this rider, it is a 1.25% fee, but the main thing to focus on here is where I put that star, the flexible lifetime payment amount. And I'll give you an example, and we'll also look at a visual here in a couple slides, right? Basically what that means is if I put in $100,000 into this contract, what I can do is a year from now, I can say, okay, I want to elect only 25% of my income base and turn on a single income for that portion. Because as I mentioned earlier on, you don't have to elect the full income base. You can choose a portion of that income base to be triggered. So a year from now, I can say, okay, I want 25% of my income base to be elected, and I want to do a single payout. And then 4 years from now, I can say, okay, now I actually want to take another 50% of my income base, and I want to activate that portion of my income base as a joint increasing income option. So you can do multiple streams of income that start at different times that can be different payouts, whether it be single, joint. You can do a spousal payout on this as well, where if I'm the contract owner, I can actually do just a spousal payment on my wife, spouse, whoever it may be, that would be covering just my spouse's lifetime. So that's another interesting aspect to this feature. Another thing to point out, just as a heads up, right here, lifetime income is not available until after the first contract year. So just something to keep in mind there. Now, let me go to the next page here. When it comes to, and I just went way to the last page. I'm sorry. When it comes to the growth of this product, right? We look at it on an accumulation only basis. If we leave that rider off, we have indexing strategies from S&P and Barclays. We actually have a Barclays 6 and a Barclays 12 index here that you'll see. Basically, the 12 just allows for a little bit more volatility. Also illustrates better historically as well. Well, basically, we have up to 8 different indexing options available. 6 of them are uncapped. 2 of those are being volatility controlled indexes. We'll take a little bit deeper dive in there in a few slides. If we add the optional total control rider, how does that income base grow, right? Well, it's awesome because you actually get a guaranteed roll-up plus 200% of any interest dollar or of any dollars credited. You'll see here, not only do you get a 4% guaranteed roll up to that income base, you get 200% of any eligible interest credits. So each and every year, that income base, if you do add this income rider, you get a 4% guaranteed roll up plus 200% of any interest dollars credited. What you'll notice on this contract, and we'll touch a little bit too on this at the end, there will be technically two different income bases. There will be an active income base and a deferred income base. Immediately, everything gets put into the deferred income base because, right, that income base is being deferred. But as soon as I elect a portion of my income to be activated, that portion of the income base gets swept into the active income base. The deferred income base is always going to be growing at this 4% roll up plus 200% of dollars credited. And that's going to roll up for up to a 20-year period. Let me get back to my here. And then for additional protection that this contract is going to provide, optional control, it has an LPA multiplier benefit or a lifetime payment amount multiplier benefit, which is awesome because we're going to look at ADLs for this, right? If you cannot perform 2 of 6 ADLs, we will double your income for a maximum of 5 years or until your account value hits 0. We'll have a 100% nursing home confinement waiver starting in year 2. And as always, you'll have spousal continuance, right? Where if you die prior to a portion of your benefits starting, your spouse can assume the contract
Hey,
and
Austin.
continue that contract as is. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. So on that multiplier, let's say you would say 25, you started 25% of your income, and then you can't
Mm-hmm.
perform 2 of the 6 ADLs. What is going to be multiplied? Is it going to be the full benefit amount, or is it going to be the 25% that would be multiplied?
It's
Does that make
only
sense?
going to be doubled. Yep, absolutely. It's only going to be doubled on the amount of income that you have triggered. So if you've only triggered 25% of your income base, basically only that portion that you are getting doubled, that portion of income that you are getting from that point in time is going to be doubled. So it won't be on your full income base, or I should say the full available income amount that you could take. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But if you have activated 100% of your income base, or a good chunk of it, 80% of your income base, that's going to double. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is, let's say if you've only activated 20% of your income base and we're doubling that income, you're more than likely going to get the full 5 years of doubled because we're only doubling a smaller amount, meaning your account value is going to preserve itself. But that is one thing to keep in mind. Thank you for pointing that out. It's only doubled on the portion of income that you have generated, not the full amount.
Could you
sense?
turn on? Yeah, could you turn it on?
Yep.
Like, let's say, okay, well, I'm getting ill and I know it's, around the corner. I'm going to turn on my full benefit and then activate my doubler.
Absolutely. So let's say you have only 25% of your income base activated, and all of a sudden, your health's deteriorating. About butchered that word there. I apologize. And you realize, okay, I'm probably gonna start using my doubler here because I can't perform 2 of 6 ADLs. If you want to, by all means, absolutely activate the remaining amount of your income base and say, I want the rest of my income base to be turned on in whatever capacity that you want, right? Single, joint, whatever it may be, and then fill or submit that paperwork to double the income, and then we'll double it all. Absolutely.
So is it the same kind of deal as like your Versa Choice product where you just need a letter from a physician stating that you can't perform 2 of the 6 ADLs?
Yep, absolutely. All we need is a physician's note. And then I think there is another form with the, actually I apologize. But yeah, all we need for proof though, to keep it simple right now, is just the physician's note. Exactly.
And that's a big deal. A lot of carriers will require a whole lot of paperwork and 60, 90 days already in confinement and things like that. So this is cool.
Yep, absolutely. We make it pretty easy in that aspect here for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now let's focus on just the accumulation side of things here for the next 2 slides. As I mentioned, right, the income rider is optional, but if you leave the income rider off, you're still going to have very competitive indexing options on this contract. We've introduced 2 new Barclays indexes, the 6 volatility controlled and the 12% volatility controlled indexes here. And then on this page, like I said, if you leave the income rider off, it is just a pure growth and accumulation product with indexing options to choose from and 10% free withdrawals starting in year 2. You're going to see here, still have very competitive indexing options. And the great part about this, guys, if you do add the income rider, these rates do not drop. So if you add the income rider, you're getting an income rider product with a 9% annual cap. You can't find that out there right now. You're getting an income rider product that has a participation rate of 200% on this Barclays 6 index. And you're going to see the illustrated rates over the last 10 years here in this column: 6.22, 10.7, 11.81, 12.78, all the way down to this bottom index here. We have the Barclays 12 with both a margin and a participation rate. That's illustrating at 15.02%. So if you add the income rider, you can get all of these different options. And oh, by the way, you're going to get that 4% guaranteed roll up plus 200% of dollar amounts credited on these indexing options that don't decrease if you add that income rider. So think of it as this, right? If we have a 9% cap and you hit that 9% in the first year, now that's assuming you hit the 9%, and you have this income rider added, you're going to get the 4% guaranteed plus basically 9 times 2 added to that, call it 22% to keep it simple there. That's a very, very strong roll up to your benefit base, or income base, I should say, within that first contract year. So here you see the rates, right? If you keep it on an accumulation only product, these are the options that you have. The cool thing about this Barclays index is that it's always going to be allocated 60% towards equity, right? Over the course of the last 2, 3, 4 years, I call it 2, 3 years, these volatility controlled indexes, what we saw with rising interest rates and a lot of volatility, we saw because of volatility, them shift towards, quote unquote, safer options, bonds, etc. Well, what happened to bonds as interest rates rise rapidly over the last 2 years? Bond portfolios, bond values decreased. So the bond portions of these volatility controlled indexes, these indexes got heavily weighted towards bonds. They may have been 50, 60, 70% weighted towards bonds. And then those bond values were decreasing. So on this one, what we did is we said we want a good equity component to it, and we want it to always be at least majority equities, right? And we know equities aren't always going to be great, but at least going into it, in an interest rate environment that we were in the last 2 years, that's not going to water this down, right? You're always going to have at least 60% in equities, and that's something that going into this with these Barclays indexes.
Hey,
now let's focus
can you go back
here.
to that?
Go ahead.
Do you see that question in the question box?
Oh, I don't. Let me go see if I can find that. I don't.
So question
Am I missing it here?
It's okay. I'll read it to you. So question is so the margin is 4% and the cap is 9.
Yeah.
Would the net be 5? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we're talking about 2 different indexes here. So this index down here is the only index that has a margin and it doesn't have a cap on it. So the option with the 9% cap, that only has a 9% cap on the S&P 500 right here. So on the option with the annual point-to-point S&P 500 that I'm kind of drawing a little box around, I guess you could say, or a little half circle around here, that has a 9% cap. But let's go down to this bottom option here that you'll see that I'm drawing now a half circle on way at the bottom. You'll see, let me erase all my drawings and then start from scratch here just so you can see what I'm highlighting. You'll see that this Barclays 12 index, if you choose this option, it is a 2-year point-to-point with an annual index margin of 2%, meaning over the 2 years, you have a 4% total margin, and then a participation rate of 120%. So this is how this index would work. Because it's a 2-year point-to-point and a 4% margin with a 120% participation rate, let's do the math, and we'll keep it actually real simple. Let's just say over a 2-year period, this index goes up 10%. So what we'll do is this index would go up 10% over 2 years. We'll subtract the 4% margin first. So 10 minus 4 is 6. And then what you do after that is you apply the 120% participation rate. You take 6 times a 120% or 6 times 1.2, and that actually equates out to 7.2%. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But on the option, I want to be clear. You had mentioned in your question there's a 9% cap. The option with the 9% cap, that option only has a 9% cap. So if you hit 9% on the S&P 500, it is capped out at 9%, and you get the full 9%. There's no margin or anything else included in that. But in the option at the way bottom here, it does have a margin and a participation rate. Hopefully that helps and makes sense. Hopefully I was clear enough on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So let's look at a scenario here where basically we're going to have 2 different couples go into this contract, and we're just going to show you the differences that it can make, right? In throwaway numbers, premiums, etc., right, on this contract. This is just there to show you what you are able to do with this contract and the flexibility that it provides. So there's 2 sets of couples. They go into this contract, and one of them you'll see here at age 65. Let me get my pen out again. So age 65 here, couple A, they just trigger a joint income, right? Well, what you'll see here at age 70, that joint income is the same again because they chose a joint level income. And then at age 75, it's the same again. Couple B's looking at it a little bit differently. They're like, okay, at age 65, we're going to need a little bit, but maybe one of the spouses are still working, right? So they're like, okay, we're getting a little bit of money from one of the spouses, but let's go ahead because the other spouse retired. Let's go ahead and trigger a portion of our income. So in this instance, at age 65, couple B here, you'll see that they only activated a certain portion of it. But then go 5 years down the road at age 70, they decided, okay, now I want to activate another big chunk of my income base. And then 5 years down the road, I want to activate another or maybe the rest of my income base. So you'll see there here that couple B has 3 different income streams being paid to them. One of them started at age 65, the other started at age 70, and the other started at age 75. But if all 3 of these are joint, that means all 3 of those payments will be paid out to them for the remainder of both of their lives. But what you could do is this portion that they started here at the beginning, this could be a joint payout on both of the members. This could be a single payment on one of the spouses. Oh shoot, I messed up here. I apologize. Clicked too many buttons. This could be a single payment. I'm sorry, my drawing is horrible. And then this, I'm trying my best here. I apologize. I wasn't an art major. I'll tell you that much.
We can
and then
see.
this one could be a
we
joint.
can see that.
And I just wanted to make that clear because I don't want people to think that you are stuck to only one different income type, right? So if the first portion of the income rider that I activate is joint, I don't want everyone to think that, okay, from here on out, I have to choose a joint income for the remaining streams that I choose. I could choose one joint, the next single, my third one joint, and then my fourth one single again, right? And the best part about this is you have full control over your contract or your product when you're going into this, right? You have full control. You don't have to activate all of your money. If 5 years into this contract, if I illustrate an income rider, or if I illustrate this product for you right now, and I say, okay, let's look at what the income would generate on 100% of the income 5 years from now, you can give that income number to your clients. But the reality is that 5 years from now, the number that they probably needed today is probably going to be different than what they need 5 years from now, right? A lot of things change. Maybe they inherit money and all of a sudden they don't need as much income from this product as they thought they needed. Well, that's fine. Then only activate 50% of your income base and let the remaining 50% still defer and then maybe trigger a different portion, or that helps preserve the account value in longer as well if you only activate a certain portion. So hopefully that helps. Like I said, guys, if you guys have any questions, please give us a call here. You'll see we have our sales support team number right there. But I talked about this earlier, right? We have a team of regional sales directors that are for you guys as agents. Call this number. They can tell you who your regional sales director is. Heck, you can even say I was just on a webinar with Austin Eller. Mind if I chat with him real quick? By all means, if I'm available, I can have them send you through to me. We can have a more one-on-one conversation with this. I mean, I will admit, I've gone through this now plenty of times to where this product makes full, complete sense to me. But hearing it for the first time, you can definitely think, hey, this may get a little complicated, right? But in reality, once you understand it, just know that it does get easier, and it's just an awesome product, first to market in this type of product that we have on an income rider, and just gives you and the clients full control of your money, right? If you want to turn on 100% of your money, you sure can, but if for whatever reason you only want to activate 20%, by all means, go for it. So I don't know if there's any other questions that popped up in the chat, Lisa, or if there's anything that you
Yeah,
want to add, but
actually,
that's all that I have.
oh, man, nope. So yeah, there are a couple questions. Can you go back to that previous page if you don't mind?
I sure can.
Perfect. So Ken's got a question here. If income is started, can it be stopped and then restarted?
Yep, it can be started and stopped. One thing to keep in mind, so if I trigger a portion of my income, and let's say that portion of my income generates $5,000 in income, right? If for whatever reason I want to stop that income, that stopped income doesn't then go back into that deferred income base. Just know that it will always, that portion of your income will always stay at $5,000. Really, the only thing that stopping and starting it does is just preserve your account value more. So if I turn on income and it's $5,000, and then 3 years from now I say, okay, I want to stop that portion of my, or I want to stop that income for 2 years. When you do go back to turn it on, it's going to be $5,000 again. Hopefully that was clear and made sense. I always struggle with verbalizing that as best I can,
Yeah,
but
so this
hopefully
is
that
a
made as
little
best sense as it
different
could.
than the other products that you have where like you can stop your payments and then it goes in kind of like a savings account and then you have access to have more if you want. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So the
a little
Income Pay Pro has something like that.
Mhm.
Definitely a little bit different. Yep.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is let's say you only turn on 25% of the income and that 25% happens to be 5,000.
Yep.
So then 2 years from now Uncle Chad, leaves you a nice inherited, some money. You don't need it anymore. So basically you stop that, but that 5,000 goes just continues to collect in another bucket somewhere.
Nope. Essentially, all it does is then it just preserves your account value. So the portion of income that you have turned on, or the portion of your benefit base that you have turned on, if you turn on 25% of your income base for income, that 25% gets swept into the active income base and can never ever be put back into the deferred income base bucket. The only thing that turning it off does is it just means that we don't pay you that $5,000 for 2-3 years, whatever it may be. So the only real good thing it does for you is just preserving your account value, just as an FYI. Because
And
once you do go to turn that portion of your income on again, it's going to be set at exactly $5,000. It won't earn any interest or anything like that because you haven't been taking it for 2 years.
and we can illustrate your illustration software. We can illustrate that, or is it only
Yep.
going to be allow us to illustrate the full income amount?
Nope. Basically, what you'll see on the income portion of an illustration, when you turn on the income rider, it will ask you for a percentage of the income base that you want to turn on and what type of income you'll want. So let's say 1 year from the contract. I wonder if I can just show you guys here real quick here. Bear with me 1 second. Da, 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 da. Oh, it's going to make me sign in and it'll just be a mess for me to try to do that.
That's
But yeah,
okay.
essentially what you can do is in the illustration software, you can divvy it up however you want to. You can do 10 different income streams starting at 10 different times, or you could do 2 income streams starting at 2 different times, or you could do 2 different income streams starting at once. I actually this morning already ran one where it was a 65 and a 64-year-old deferring 3 years, And at that point in time, 50% of the income they turned on as a single payout for the 64-year-old, and then the remaining 50% they did as a joint payment. So they know at least that 50% of their money is going to be paid for both of their lives. And then they did the other 50% for just the 64-year-old, because the clients are thinking, hey, the 65-year-old's not in great health. More than likely, the 64-year-old is going to outlive the 65-year-old. So at least half of their money is going to get a higher amount because it's only a single payout, and then the other half will be a joint. So you can do it however you want. It's totally flexible. You can play around. The great part is you can play around with it in software and kind of toy with it to see how it generates and what it looks like.
So that leads me to another question. So what about spousal
Yep.
continuation?
Yep.
So
So,
basically, yeah, go ahead.
yep, it's kind of cut into two different buckets, right? So if, let's just say for the accumulation phase or the account value phase of this, if the owner, if you have a single own policy, right? A single own policy, and your spouse is the primary beneficiary, you always have the option to choose single or joint income. But let's say I have turned on both a single and joint income stream, and then I pass away as the owner of this contract. My wife, and let's assume that there's money left in the account value, my wife can assume the contract, and let's say there's $20,000 left in the account value. She can assume the contract, and now she's the owner of it. But in terms of the income payments that were being generated, the only income payment that will still be getting generated to my wife is the joint income. The single income payment that was getting generated to me goes away, but the joint income will still be going to my wife. Now, if there were still a portion of the income base that was technically deferred that never got turned on, and this is where it can get a little bit complex, and why if you guys have any questions, we can walk through and try to visualize it too within an illustration. If there was a portion of that income base that hadn't been turned on and I passed away and my wife assumed it, keep in mind, yes, she's still getting that joint income, but then two, she could still actually activate that deferred income that had never got turned on a joint or on a single income for her later on after she had assumed the contract. Hopefully that makes sense. It can definitely get confusing. Maybe better to visualize on an illustration. So if you guys have those questions, let us know. Lisa, you too. I half the time start confusing myself when I try to verbalize it. So I apologize.
No, this is good. This is good. So another question in the box here. So if you turn off the account, does it
Mm-hmm.
does it continue to grow interest again, or?
The account value will always be growing or be accruing interest. He or she may be asking though about the income base as to whether or not that is accruing interest. It does. The portion of the income base that you have turned on will not. So if I turn it on and then I turn it off, that portion of the income base doesn't keep growing, right? That $5,000 is locked in stone or set in stone. Sorry. So then that means that income base does not keep growing. Only the income base that had never been turned on keeps growing.
So in what point would that be a benefit to the client, I guess, if they wanted to turn off? It just helps the account value.
Yep, that is the only benefit that it does is it preserves the account value. Doesn't really do anything other than that. The only maybe other instance where I could see it is if they were butting up against a tax bracket and they said, you know what, that $5,000 in income is going to bump me up into the next tax bracket and I'm going to pay a little bit more in taxes on that income. Maybe I'll wait. But really, just to make it as simple as I can, yeah, the only benefit that it does for your clients, guys, is it just preserves your account value. Don't think that turning off the income rider is going to mean that that portion of your income is going to earn more money later on or anything like that. It just preserves the account value. Hopefully
This
that
is
helps.
another flexibility opportunity for the client, and
Yep.
then that brings to another question. So once the account value is depleted, they just continue and they, let's say they turned on 25% or, and the account value's been depleted, then what happens?
So the
They
benefit
still
bases
have the
will
right
be
to
getting
turn on the
depleted.
rest?
You'll want to. So the thing about that is just keep in mind your that's going to be another thing too, right? Where your benefit bases are going to be decreasing pro rata along with your account value. We always take out of the active income base first, which is a good thing because it keeps that income base that's deferring alive longer. But just keep in mind, right, guys, if you ever deplete your account value to zero, that means both income bases have also been depleted to zero.
Hmm.
It's going to be tough to do that, especially if you've only activated a small percentage of if you've only activated 25% of your income base, it's going to be hard for it to deplete your full account value down to zero. But just know that if you ever deplete your account value to zero, that means both of your income base, that means your income base has been depleted to zero too, meaning the only income that you've generated is going to be the only income given to you. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But it
Okay.
will be tough to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think it would be difficult. The product's designed to benefit the client and help them preserve for income down the road. So I am launching a poll here, you guys. Obviously, seeing an illustration on this would definitely be beneficial. I think it's a compliance thing where Austin's not allowed to do that on the webinars, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, I know he would be showing you how that works on a couple examples, but we can certainly do that offline. So if you've got somebody in mind that's looking for some flexibility in their income, this is where you want to, this is the product that you want to point them out to. I may or may not need that double, or, my wife and I don't know really what's going to happen. This is going to be a good product for them to max out, all the options and really give them all that flexibility. So that's how I'm reading it. Austin, am I missing anything?
No, and Lisa, let's say if anyone calls you and wants to do a joint call with me, by all means, I am open. We can go over whatever aspect of this contract they have questions on. I am more than happy to do that. Try to help you guys visualize it in a better way, whether it be illustration, materials that we have, etc. So just know
Hmm.
anyone on the call, if that's something you guys are interested in, please let me know.
Yep. If that's something you guys are interested in, make sure you check yes here, and I will be sure I get with you first to get that set up with Austin. Um, but other than that, if you're just wanting an illustration or anything, you can email that to me. I am going to send this recorded webinar to all of you. I'll send out some highlight sheets, brochure, and rate sheets as well. So definitely take some time and look through that. And then, yeah, if you're not already contracted with North American, you need to be. And we would love to be your home for that. So just let me know, and I'll be sure to take care of you on that end as well. Other than that, I think we are literally on the dot, on time. This is amazing. Austin, love your partnership, buddy. Love your friendship. You're the best. I mean, guys, Austin is my BFF when it comes to taking care of my agents. So he cares about you just as much as I do, and I appreciate that out of you, bud.
Lisa, you are fantastic. Everyone on the call, I can't say enough about Lisa. She's great. Every time I call her, they're answering. That's the whole thing with IAMS too. Just FYI, guys. Anytime you call, someone's going to answer. I love that because if I need something right away, even if I know Lisa's my best bet and I know she's going to be busy for the next 20 minutes, someone else can help me out. It's fantastic. Lisa and everyone else over there, I can't say enough. So thank you. Love you guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, everybody have a great day. Thanks so much again for your time. Austin, have a good one, and we'll talk to y'all next time. See ya.